She thought she was marrying a poor village hunter. Her parents almost chased him away, believing he had nothing to offer. But on their wedding day, the truth came out. He was a billionaire, hiding his real identity. What happened after the wedding would change both their lives forever. And what's coming next will shock you. Ikechukwu was the kind of man people respected. Tall, handsome, and successful, but humble. He worked hard for his wealth and believed in using it to help others. When he met Irianana, a beautiful and intelligent nursing student, he fell deeply in love. For 3 years, they dated. Ikechukwu supported her studies, paid her fees, and even helped her family. He believed she was his future. The day she graduated from nursing school, Ikechukwu was in the front row, clapping the loudest. After the ceremony, they took pictures, laughed, and dreamed about what was next. 2 weeks later, they had their white wedding. It was a beautiful day. Church vows, dancing, food, and prayers from family. Ikechukwu thought life couldn't get better. From the moment they married, he began planning for her future. He believed strongly in education and wanted her to aim higher. Quietly, he arranged for her to study for a master's degree in Canada. Without telling her, he also started building a private hospital in her name, a surprise gift for her return. Months later, Irianana traveled to Canada. At first, things were perfect. They spoke every night, and she told him about her new life, the snow, and her classes. He sent money every month and counted down the days until she would come home. But one afternoon, everything changed. Ikechukwu's phone rang. It was her. He picked up with a smile, but her voice was shaky. "Ike, I've met someone else," she said softly. "I'm pregnant. Please, move on and forget me." The words hit him like a heavy blow. He couldn't speak. Before he could respond, she ended the call. For 3 days, Ikechukwu didn't eat. He stayed in his room, curtains closed, ignoring calls. He kept staring at the unfinished hospital documents and the small key holder that said, "Welcome home, Doctor." Eerie. The future he imagined was gone. But somewhere deep inside, a decision was forming. He would not let this break him. He would search for love again. But this time, he wanted someone who loved him for who he truly was, not for his money. Far away, another story was unfolding. Genevieve had just graduated from medical school with distinction. She came from a modest home. Her father was a civil servant, and her mother sold fabrics at the market. She was gentle, hardworking, and kind. Patients liked her warm nature, and friends admired her discipline. But when it came to relationships, she had no luck. In just 1 year, she had been in 2 serious relationships, and both ended in heartbreak. One boyfriend lied about traveling for work, but was actually with another woman. The other only wanted her for her future status as a doctor. Her parents had their own plans. They constantly pushed her to meet men from influential families, politicians' sons, rich businessmen, people with big names. "You must marry into power," her mother said. "It will open doors for you." Genevieve nodded to avoid arguments, but inside, she refused. She didn't want a man who treated people badly or only saw her as a prize. She wanted a partner who was kind, honest, and respectful, even if he had nothing. One quiet evening, after another failed introduction, Genevieve sat by her window and wrote in a small notebook, "I want a man who will choose me for my heart, not my name. I don't care if he is rich or poor." That same night, Ikechukwu stood in front of his mirror. He had shaved, dressed simply, and packed a small bag. He decided to leave his wealthy life behind and move to a faraway city. There, he would live as a poor man, disguising himself as a hunter. Two hearts, hurt and searching, were about to cross paths in the most unexpected way, and when they met, everything would change. The morning sun was already hot when Ikechukwu stepped out of his small one-room apartment. His life now was simple. No fancy cars, no mansion, no expensive suits. He wore a faded t-shirt, old trousers, and slippers. Slung over his shoulder was a rope holding two fresh bushmeats he had caught from his traps in the forest at dawn. It had been 3 months since he left his wealthy life behind. People in the town only knew him as the hunter. He would spend his days in the bush and then walk through the streets looking for buyers. The little money he made kept him fed and paid his rent. That day, as he walked down a busy street, he saw two young women ahead. One of them, tall, with bright eyes and an effortless grace, caught his attention. She was walking beside her friend, laughing softly as they talked. Ikechukwu's steps slowed. Something in his chest told him to speak to her. He adjusted the bushmeat on his shoulder and walked toward them. "Good afternoon," he said politely, looking at the tall one. "Please, may I speak with you?" Her friend turned sharply, frowning. "Are you mad? Can't you see who you're talking to? Do you think she's in your class?" Before Ikechukwu could reply, the tall woman touched her friend's arm. "That's enough," she said firmly. "Don't talk to anyone like that." She turned to him with a small smile. "I'm sorry about that." Ikechukwu smiled back. "It's all right. I saw you and wanted to say hello." They spoke briefly. She told him her name was Genevieve, and he introduced himself as simply Ikechukwu. There was something calm about her voice, something that made him feel seen. Before they parted, she handed him her phone. "Here, put your number," she said. That night, Ikechukwu lay on his bed, staring at the ceiling. He could still see her smile in his mind. Could she be the one, he wondered. He laughed to himself. A doctor giving her number to a poor hunter. It felt too good to be true. Across town, Genevieve lay in her own bed, her mind replaying the meeting. He was poor, yes, his clothes told her that. But there was something about his eyes, something honest and kind. She had met rich men who treated people badly. This one had nothing, yet he carried himself with quiet dignity. The next day, Ikechukwu went back into the bush early. One of his traps had caught a large bushmeat. He cleaned it quickly, tied it with rope, and decided to take it to her as a gift. They met in a quiet spot near her house. She laughed when she saw the gift. "You didn't have to," she said. "I wanted to," he replied. They sat on a low bench under a mango tree, talking about their lives. He told her he lived alone and hunted for a living. She told him about her work at the hospital. The more they talked, the more they laughed. It was easy, natural. Days turned into weeks. Genevieve began visiting him in his one-room apartment. Sometimes she brought food she had cooked at home. Sometimes she just came to sit and talk. Ikechukwu loved those moments, the smell of her perfume, the sound of her laughter filling his small room. One evening, as she was leaving, she hugged him lightly. He watched her walk away and felt something warm spread in his chest. He was falling for her, but not everyone was happy about it. One afternoon, her father noticed she had been going out more than usual. Curious, he followed her and found her sitting with Ikechukwu. His face tightened. He waited until she got home and confronted her. "I don't ever want to see you near that man again," he warned. A few days later, he saw Ikechukwu himself on the street with bushmeat. He stopped him and spoke in a low but firm voice. "Stay away from my daughter. If I catch you with her again, I will have you locked up." Ikechukwu swallowed hard. "Sir, I love your daughter," he said quietly, but the man turned and walked away without a word. Genevieve knew her father's warning wouldn't be the end of it, and she knew in her heart she wasn't ready to let Ikechukwu go. Genevieve's father was a man who liked control. Once he made up his mind about something, it was hard to change it. From the day he caught his daughter with Ikechukwu, he had decided the young man was not good enough for her. He believed a doctor should marry someone of high status, maybe another doctor, a lawyer, a wealthy businessman, or a politician's son. To him, a hunter was a man with no ambition, no class, and no future. So when he found out Genevieve still spoke to Ikechukwu after his warning, his anger grew. The next day, she sent Ikechukwu a message. "Daddy is watching me closely, but I'm not ready to stop seeing you." They began meeting in hidden spots, sometimes at the back of the clinic where she worked, sometimes deep inside the market crowd where no one would notice them. Each stolen moment made their feelings stronger, but the secrecy could not last forever. One evening, her mother walked past her room and heard her on the phone, laughing softly. She paused to listen. "Don't worry, I'll see you tomorrow," Genevieve said, before ending the call. Her mother stepped inside. "Who were you talking to?" Genevieve's eyes shifted. "Just a friend." Her mother's voice was cold. "That hunter?" Genevieve stayed silent. That night, her parents argued in their bedroom. Her father said, "We must stop this before it becomes something serious." Her mother agreed, and the next morning, they took action. Genevieve woke up to find her bedroom door locked from the outside. Her mother's voice came through the wood. "You will stay here until you forget him. Food will be brought to you. No phone, no visitors." 3 days passed like that. Her only company was the sound of birds outside and her own thoughts. She thought about Ikechukwu, about the way he looked at her, about his quiet strength. She missed him badly, but she also knew her parents wouldn't give in easily. On the 4th day, her mother opened the door and sat on the bed. "Genevieve, we want the best for you. That man has nothing to offer," she said gently. Genevieve looked at her mother with tired eyes. "Mummy, I'm a doctor. I can take care of myself. I don't need a man's money. I need his heart." Her mother didn't answer immediately. She sighed and stood up. "We will talk again." That evening, while her parents were at a neighbor's birthday party, Genevieve quietly left the house and went to Ikechukwu's room. He was surprised to see her and pulled her into a hug. "They locked me up," she told him, her voice shaking. Ikechukwu's face tightened. "I'm sorry you're going through this because of me." She held his hands. "It's because of us. And I'm not giving up." From that moment, their bond grew even stronger, not because it was easy, but because they were both ready to fight for it. The tension in Genevieve's home had become like thick smoke. You could feel it even when no one was speaking. Her father barely looked at her. Her mother, though less harsh, still tried to convince her to end things with Ikechukwu. But something had changed. One morning, Genevieve was in the kitchen making tea when her mother walked in, quietly. She stood for a moment, watching her daughter's movements. The way she stirred the cup slowly, her shoulders slightly hunched. "You've lost weight," her mother said finally. "I'm fine," Genevieve replied without looking up. Her mother sighed. "This man, you really love him?" Genevieve turned to face her. "Yes, Mummy, I do. Not because of what he has, because of who he is." Her mother studied her face, searching for doubt, but found none. She remembered her own younger days. how she had fought to marry Genevieve's father against her own parents' wishes. She had almost forgotten that love doesn't always make sense on paper. That night she brought it up when her husband was watching the evening news. "Have you noticed how quiet she has become?" she asked. Her husband didn't look away from the TV. "She's stubborn. She will get over it." "Or maybe she won't," her mother said softly. "What if this is the man she is meant to be with?" Her husband frowned. "A hunter? You want our daughter, a doctor, to marry a hunter?" "Better a good hunter than a bad husband in a suit," she said, surprising herself with the words. He shook his head. "You don't understand, woman. People will laugh at us. And will people feed us when she is unhappy in a loveless marriage?" she asked. Her husband stayed silent for a long moment. The next week, Genevieve continued to sneak moments with Ikechukwu. Sometimes it was just a quick meeting on the street. Sometimes she brought him home-cooked food wrapped in foil. She never complained, but her mother noticed the light in her eyes each time she came back. One afternoon, her mother followed her quietly. She saw Genevieve sitting with Ikechukwu under a mango tree, sharing roasted corn. There was no jewelry, no fancy gifts, just two people talking and laughing like they were in their own world. She stood there for a while, unseen, then turned and walked home, her mind unsettled. That evening she told her husband what she had seen. "Ikechukwu may be poor, but the way he looks at her, I've never seen a man look at a woman like that," she said. Her husband grumbled. "Love doesn't pay bills." "But our daughter can pay her own bills," she replied quickly. "She's a doctor. She doesn't need a man's money. She needs someone who will care for her heart." Her husband stayed silent again, but she could see the fight in him slowly weakening. A few days later, she pressed him again. "Let's meet the boy. If he is as bad as you think, you can refuse. But if he is decent, give them your blessing. Please." Her husband rubbed his forehead. "Fine. But if I don't like what I see, it ends there." When Genevieve came home from work the next day, her mother called her into the sitting room. Her father was there, looking serious. "Sit," he said. She obeyed, her heart racing. "I have agreed to meet this Ikechukwu," he said slowly. "But know this, one wrong word from him, and I will never approve." Genevieve's face lit up. "Thank you, Daddy." Her father waved his hand. "Don't thank me yet. Tell him to come on Saturday afternoon." When Genevieve left the room, she almost ran to her bedroom and dialed Ikechukwu's number. "They want to meet you," she said, her voice trembling with excitement. On the other end, Ikechukwu closed his eyes and took a deep breath. "Then I'll be there," he said. Neither of them knew that this meeting would be the first step toward a future no one could have predicted. Saturday came with soft sunshine and the smell of rain somewhere far away. Ikechukwu woke up early. He cleaned his small room, ironed his best shirt, and polished his slippers until they looked new. He packed 2 small gifts in a nylon bag, a fresh bushmeat from his morning trap, and a neat wrapper he bought for Genevieve's mother. Nothing expensive, but clean and thoughtful. Before noon, he stood at Genevieve's family gate, heart beating fast. He said a short prayer. "God, give me the right words." The gate opened. Genevieve's mother smiled kindly and let him in. Genevieve stood behind her, eyes bright but calm, giving him courage with just a look. They led him to the sitting room. Her father sat straight in his chair, glasses on, face serious. He did not smile. On the center table were a tray of ground nuts, malt drinks, and water. Ikechukwu greeted properly, bowed slightly, and sat only when he was told. "Good afternoon, sir." "Good afternoon, Ma," he said again. Her father watched him for a few seconds, then spoke. So, you are the one. Yes, sir. My name is Ikechukwu. Her father nodded once. We will talk, but first, what did you bring? Ikechukwu placed the nylon on the table. Sir, I brought a small bushmeat for the house, and a wrapper for Mummy. It is not much, but it comes with respect. Her mother looked pleased. Thank you, she said softly. The father did not react, but he did not reject the gifts either. The questions began. What do you do? The father asked. I hunt, sir. I set traps in the bush and sell the meat in the market. It is honest work. I wake early and sleep late. I am not lazy. How much do you make in a week? It changes, sir. Some weeks are good, some are not. But I always pay my rent and I keep something aside. I don't drink or waste money. What are your plans for the future? The father pressed. Ikechukwu's voice stayed steady. To build a simple but peaceful home, to support Genevieve's dreams. If she wants to open a clinic or go for more training, I will stand by her. I may not have much now, but I will not stop working. I am open to learning new skills too. Where is your family from? The father asked. From Umuni. My parents are alive. We are not many. We value respect and tradition. If you allow me, I will bring my people to greet you properly. The father leaned back, eyes sharp. Do you go to church? Yes, sir. I attend the 7 a.m. service most Sundays. I am not perfect, but I fear God. The room went quiet. Genevieve watched her father's face, trying to read him. Her mother folded her arms, hiding a small smile. Ikechukwu kept his hands on his knees, calm, not fidgeting. The father tried a different angle. Why my daughter? She is a doctor. She can marry a man with bigger name, bigger pocket. Ikechukwu swallowed. Sir, I can't compete with big names, but I can promise her peace. I will not raise my hand to her. I will not insult her. I will protect her, respect her, and pray with her. When life becomes hard, I will not run, I will stand. Her mother nodded slowly. Genevieve blinked back tears. The father's voice softened just a little. If hunger comes, how will you manage? We will plan and live within our means, Ikechukwu replied. I don't chase show. I can farm small behind the house. I can learn extra work. I am not too proud to start small. There was a pause. Then her father did something no one expected. He pushed a small envelope across the table. Inside is a list of our family traditions, he said. Bride price items, steps, names of elders. Study it. Ikechukwu did not touch the envelope immediately. He looked up. Thank you, sir. Only then did he take it with two hands, like a sacred paper. The father stood and walked to the window. He looked out for a long time, then turned back. I won't lie to you. I was angry. I felt insulted when I saw you on the street with that meat. But today, you spoke like a man. Not with noise, with sense. He faced Genevieve. If this is truly what you want, I will not stand in your way. Genevieve gasped and covered her mouth. Daddy, thank you. Her mother clapped quietly, joy hiding in her eyes. God bless you, she whispered. But the father raised a finger. I have conditions. He looked at Ikechukwu. No shame must come to my daughter in this town. No stories that will make her regret. You will come properly with your people. You will follow our customs. And you will not waste time. If your mind is sure, move like a man. Ikechukwu nodded, chest full. Yes, sir. I agree to everything. They all stood. Her mother brought the drinks. The father finally took one, broke a ground nut, and offered a few to Ikechukwu. It felt like a small door opening. As Ikechukwu stepped out later, Genevieve walked him to the gate. The street smelled of dust and ripe mangoes. She touched his arm, eyes bright. You did well, she said. He smiled. Your father is a strong man. And you answered like a stronger one, she replied. He looked at the envelope in his hand, then at her. Get ready, he said quietly. I'm coming back soon, properly. She nodded, heart racing. For the first time, the future didn't feel like a fight. It felt like a path, and both of them were ready to walk it. The sun was already bright when the first guests began arriving at Genevieve's family compound. Women in colorful wrappers carried trays of food to the kitchen. Men arranged chairs under canopies, and children ran around, laughing. The compound buzzed with excitement. Today was Genevieve's traditional marriage. Her parents were ready, though still wondering how the hunter they had known could afford to meet the bride price so quickly. Her father assumed it would be a simple, modest ceremony. We'll just do it small, he had told relatives earlier. No need for too much noise. But what happened next left everyone speechless. The sound of distant drums and singing floated through the air. Then, down the dusty road, a convoy appeared. Not just ordinary cars, but a long line of sleek black SUVs and luxury jeeps. Behind them came a bus full of traditional dancers, their colorful costumes shimmering in the sunlight. At the front of the convoy was Ikechukwu, stepping out of a brand-new SUV. He was dressed in a rich, wine-colored senator outfit, gold embroidery glittering in the sun, a red cap on his head, and coral beads around his neck. He looked nothing like the hunter who once walked the streets with bushmeat. Gasps rose from the crowd. Is this the same Ikechukwu? A woman whispered. Ah, I thought he was just an ordinary man, another said. It wasn't only the cars that shocked people. Stepping out behind him were some of the most powerful men in the state. Well-known billionaires, politicians, even the governor himself. They greeted Ikechukwu with warm handshakes and laughter, as if he were one of them, because he was. Genevieve, standing by the doorway with her mother, froze. Her eyes widened. Mummy, is this really Ikechukwu? Her mother's jaw dropped. My daughter, I think we never knew who we were dealing with. Her father stood near the elders' table, eyes fixed on Ikechukwu. The pride he tried to hide was slowly pushing through the shock on his face. The ceremony began with music and greetings. Ikechukwu's people presented the bride price items, everything on the list and more. Expensive wines, crates of malt, fine fabrics, bags of rice, and an envelope so thick it made the elders nod in approval. When it was time for Genevieve to be called out, the women of her family sang and danced as they brought her forward. She looked stunning in her gold and maroon traditional attire, beads on her neck and wrists. She carried a calabash of palm wine, moving slowly through the crowd in search of her husband-to-be. She found Ikechukwu seated among the elders, his wealthy friends clapping as she approached. She knelt, smiling shyly, and offered him the drink. Ikechukwu took a small sip, then pulled her gently to her feet. The crowd erupted into cheers. The elders pronounced them husband and wife, according to tradition. The celebration exploded into full swing. Music, dancing, and ululations from the women. But what truly made the day unforgettable was the moment the governor stood to give a toast. I have known Ikechukwu for years, he said, smiling. He is not only a successful businessman, but a man of integrity. Genevieve, you are marrying a great man. The crowd went wild. Genevieve's parents could only stare. All along, they had thought their daughter was marrying a poor hunter, only to discover he was a wealthy man with powerful friends. Her mother leaned toward her father and whispered, "We almost chased him away." Her father shook his head slowly. God works in mysterious ways. As night fell, fireworks lit the sky. Ikechukwu and Genevieve danced in the middle of the compound, surrounded by friends, family, and dignitaries. It was a day the entire town would talk about for years. 1 week after the grand traditional wedding, Genevieve packed her belongings for a journey she never imagined she would make. She and Ikechukwu were leaving her parents' home, not for a small apartment or a modest flat, but for Ikechukwu's real home, the one he had never shown her before. The drive to Lagos was long, but Genevieve enjoyed every moment. She sat beside Ikechukwu in a sleek black SUV, watching the world pass by through tinted windows. His driver led the convoy, followed by 2 more luxury cars carrying some of their personal belongings. When they reached Banana Island, her jaw dropped. The streets were spotless, lined with palm trees, and the air felt fresh. Mansions stood tall behind high gates, each one more beautiful than the last. "This is where you live?" she asked in disbelief. Ikechukwu smiled. "Where we live now." The car stopped in front of a white 3-story mansion with glass balconies, a fountain in front, and a garden full of bright flowers. The massive black gate opened slowly, revealing a driveway with parked luxury cars. Genevieve stepped out, still trying to take it all in. "Ikechukwu, this place is like something from a dream." He took her hand. "You've seen me as a hunter. Now see me as I truly am. But whether I'm in a 1-room apartment or a mansion, my heart for you doesn't change." Inside, the house was even more breathtaking. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, wide staircases, and walls decorated with tasteful art. A few staff members greeted them respectfully. That evening, Ikechukwu handed her a white envelope. "Tomorrow, I want you to invite your parents," he said. "What for?" she asked. He smiled mysteriously. "You'll see." The next day, Genevieve's parents arrived in Lagos. They had never been to Banana Island before, and their eyes widened as they entered the compound. Her father whispered to her mother, "I still can't believe this man was walking with bushmeat when we met him." After a warm welcome, Ikechukwu led them all into a car and drove a short distance to a modern, freshly painted building with large glass doors. Above the entrance, bold letters read, "Genevieve Memorial Hospital." Genevieve froze. "Ikechukwu, what is this?" He turned to her with a smile. "This is yours." She blinked. "Mine?" "Yes. I built this long before we met in Lagos. My plan was to surprise my wife with it, as a gift, to support her career. I didn't know then it would be you, but now I know it was always meant for you." Tears filled her eyes. Her parents stood speechless. They walked inside. The hospital was fully equipped, shining wards, brand new beds, a laboratory, a pharmacy, and offices ready for staff. Everything smelled new. Nurses and administrative workers stood ready, smiling as they greeted their new boss. Genevieve turned to him, her voice trembling. "You've given me more than I ever dreamed of. How do I thank you?" "By running it well and saving lives," he said softly. Her parents stepped forward. Her father shook Ikechukwu's hand firmly. "I was wrong about you. I judged you without knowing your heart. Thank you for loving our daughter and giving her this future." Her mother hugged him tightly. "God bless you, my son." They all stood in the lobby for a photograph. Genevieve in the center, holding the keys to her hospital, her parents beside her, and Ikechukwu's arm around her shoulder. As they left, Genevieve whispered to him, "I don't just love you for this. I love you because you've shown me that real wealth is in how much you give." Ikechukwu smiled. "Then let's give the world something to remember." Neither of them knew that far away in Canada, a chapter from Ikechukwu's past was beginning to fall apart, and soon it would try to find its way back into his life.